guys, welcome back to another video. I am Mike Benitez. Today we're doing another episode of Locomotive Histories. I was supposed to do a video about this over the weekend. That's when I upload these Locomotive Histories, but I'm doing an episode a little late. But this episode will be about just one specific locomotive and the story of her class. This locomotive is Norfolk and Western, number 2156. And I'll be talking about how this locomotive became so famous and how it's almost completely been forgotten. Norfolk and Western, number 2156, is a 2880 Mallet, which means it has two front wheels, two sets of 8 driving wheels, and 2 trailing wheels at the back of the locomotive. This made her one powerful beast. 2156 is part of the Norfolk and Western's Y5, Y6, Y6As, and Y6B classes, but most specifically the Y6A class. These were one powerful beasts and were one of the most powerful locomotives in their time. The 2156 and her sisters had a top speed of 50 miles an hour to pull freight trains. However, it is said that the 2156 and her sisters were able to pull trains at 63 miles an hour. Now, trust me, these were pretty long trains, like mile-long trains. When 2156 was built, she was the second of the 16 Y6A locomotives. And I mean, she was monstrous at her work. The 2156 will haul monstrous hopper cars full of coal to the Pocahontas and Shenandoah divisions. She and her sisters proved to be very powerful locomotives. Judging by her weight, she and her sisters had to pull freight trains at slower speeds, but the ground would literally shake as these monsters would pound the rails and fly past you. Number 2156 was built on March 12, 1942. Throughout the 1950s, the Y classes would haul monstrous coal and sometimes even passenger trains, but mostly freight trains. The Y6As proved to be very powerful, and the Norfolk and Western were proud of these because they needed big locomotives to haul their freight trains. And what better locomotive than the Norfolk and Western's Y classes? 2156 was sadly the lucky one of the locomotives. I'll mention why. The 1950s would start a new age of diesel locomotives coming, and soon the Norfolk and Western was the last ever railroad to have steam. Sadly, 2156 was retired from service in July of 1959. But it wasn't over yet for the 2156, for she was donated in the same year that she was retired. The Norfolk and Western donated her to the Museum of Transportation. 2156 resides in Virginia for a 5-year loan until 2020, and it's unknown what's going to happen to the locomotive once this ends. It was here, at the Virginia Museum of Transportation, where history was made once again for the 2156. May 31st, 2015. History was made once again. The 2156 was reunited with two of her comrades, Norfolk and Western 611 and Norfolk and Western number 1218. The 3 monstrous locomotives together will later become known as the Big 3. And for several days, the N&W Big 3 will reside together. And I prefer this as a momentary moment for all 3 locomotives, especially the 2156. However, since this was so happy, there's one thing that 2156 is like compared to her comrades. 2156 is the sole survivor of the Y classes. Not any other locomotive has ever been preserved. The 2156 is the last sole survivor. And hopefully she'll remain preserved for the rest of her days. 2156 is the largest steam locomotive extinct to this day, besides the Union Pacific Big Boys, but is even more powerful and bigger than the Big Boys. I'll talk about them in the next video. Even though it's not operational, I hope it becomes operational once again to ride the rails and claim the home that she once was all those years ago, from 1942 to 1959. If any of you guys have ever seen the 2156 in real life, good for you. You've just seen a sole survivor of the Y classes, and I hope she remains that way until a replica can be built. This is truly I hope this episode will make the 2156 a newer light and will never be forgotten. I am Mike Benitez, and I am signing out on the story of the Norfolk and Western number 2156, the last survivor of the Norfolk and Western's Y classes. Thank you very much. Have a nice day, and pay respect to the 2156.